Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Yotta just announced that you can get I-bonds through their service and you don't have to go through treasurydirect.gov. You don't have to fill out all these crazy forms. You don't have to deal with a government website. This is the best news I've heard all week. Let's go through it. Let's sign up for them and let's deposit all 10 grand right now. The email says you've been invited to use our new I-bonds bucket. We're making it easy for you to buy US I-bonds to diversify your savings, earn a 9.62% interest rate on up to $10,000. That is nuts. Gosh. So if you're unfamiliar, I-bonds are backed by the government. They're backed by the US government. It's not a crypto USDC stablecoin situation where through the magic of crypto you're somehow earning more interest. It's not like that. These are old school bonds. These are stuff that your grandparents bought. And my potentially favorite part, I haven't done it yet, I'm doing it live with you right now, is that there's 0 forms to fill out. You don't have to deal with treasurydirect.gov. Like, I'm just so excited because obviously I-bonds making you 9.6% interest are insane. That's amazing. But going through the process has been enough of a hindrance for me that I haven't done it. So let's do it now. It's always wise to read the directions first, and this says how to do it. We create a new bucket within Yotta Savings. So they let you divide up your money into these little virtual buckets, if you will. And now this is a new one. We just have to pick I-bonds. Then it says we designate the amount I would like to transfer, $25 minimum, from your core account, which is where all your money starts, over to the I-bonds bucket. Funny thing to say. I-bonds bucket. Then apparently Yotta jumps through all the hoops with treasurydirect.gov. And then for step 3, it says your bucket balance and lifetime earnings will be displayed within the I-bonds bucket card. Please note that funds held in the I-bonds bucket do not yield tickets. So you're foregoing the possibility of winning the Yotta Hot Pot, which is now up to like 450 grand. You're foregoing the grand prize, obviously, and you're just locking in this higher interest rate. For me, that'd be a much higher interest rate. Then step number 4, caveat number 4, which is important for me to read because I hadn't really anticipated this, but it's obvious, it's I-bonds. You can only cash out I-bonds bucket funds after a minimum of 1 year. This is like a CD, if you will. I mean, it's a bond, obviously, but it's like a CD in that you lock it away for a year and you can't touch it. If you cash out for between 1 and 5 years, you'll lose the last 3 months of interest, they say. So that's pretty interesting. Ha, interesting. Now I clicked on here where it says to learn more about I-bonds and it directed me to treasurydirect.gov. Something that they notate here, which I think is pretty interesting, is that you can only buy that $10,000 worth of bonds per calendar year. Now, as I'm filming this, it's September 2022. I wonder if in a few months, whenever we turn over to January, if that rate will still be compelling enough and if Yotta will still be doing this in the same kind of way to where then I could get another $10,000 in there. That could be awesome. For me, the really interesting thing about this is the spread between what the stock market has done this year and what these are, because we're down like 16% in the S&P 500 this year, and then this would be plus 9.6%. So we've got a massive spread there where your opportunity cost is the better part of 25% if you go ahead and do this versus if you just leave your money alone and don't do it. I feel like it's a no-brainer. I feel like we have to do it. Okay, enough talking. Let's open up Yotta and make this happen. I'm so excited. All right, early access to I-bonds. There it is. So excited. Check out I-bonds. So the crypto yield bucket was 1.3 times the tickets, higher base interest rate. Now, I-bond bucket. Yes, please. I-bond bucket. Can I rename it? No? Okay. Oh my goodness. So I've opened it up and it says I-bond bucket, $0 balance so far, doesn't earn any tickets, and then it's gonna lay out for me what my principal versus what my earnings are. My goodness. Purchase, do it. So we're gonna transfer from the core account to the I-bond bucket. Why do I only have $4,400 available? Also, I'm wondering if you can make more than one contribution. Like right now, if I only have $4,400 available, can I then come back tomorrow and contribute more? Okay, before we do that, I'm gonna transfer more out of my subscribe bucket and into the core account bucket. Yeah, just for fun, I made a subscribe bucket with a like and a comment also bucket, but what we're gonna do is transfer money out of there from subscribe bucket into core, literally all of it. Max, transfer it all. Oh wow, and it happened instantaneously. I mean, it's sort of an electronic thing, but it is 4:21 Arizona time, so I could see how they would say like, hey, we need a business day to do it, or something like that. Thankfully, we don't need to do that. Okay, now we're back. So I've transferred all that money from subscribe back into core. 33 grand is available. Obviously, I can't do all 33 grand because I'm limited to $10,000 per social security number per year, per the I-bond rules. Wow, maturity date is September 8th, 2052. I need to learn more about I-bonds. I could leave this thing there for 30 years. 9.6% for 30 years would be nice. I wish there was a higher limit. Okay, let's do it. Purchase. Do I understand? I'll be unable to use it for a year. They really want you to know this, which is wise. Put up all the barriers. Make sure we know. Yes, purchase now. Successfully transferred. Can you imagine if the government was this easy all the time? If a .gov website was this easy to use? Wow. Okay, that was it. Pretty easy. That's how easy it is to earn 9.62% interest guaranteed. That's amazing. Wow. Let's go back and read more about I-bonds. So key facts about I-bonds that we should know. This rate is applied to the 6 months after the purchase is made. That's not guaranteed to be for the next 30 years. For example, if I buy an I-bond at 9.62%, on July 1st, it'll apply through December 31st. And then the interest is compounded semi-annually. So every 6 months, you get your lump of interest, and it may potentially change the rate of the bond. It does say down here a little bit lower that I-bonds earn interest for 30 30 years unless you cash them out first. So I doubt that this bond rate will be this attractive for all 30 years. Maybe not even for a few years. But the fact is, we got to jump on it now while we can. The stock market's down. Yotta's overall kind of base payout is down. A lot of these things are not returning the kind of money they used to. So we may as well make 10 grand go to work for us, right? Oh, and there's another one of my questions that are answered. How do I bonds earn interest? Exactly what goes into that number, and how do I know how much I'm going to make? Well, it's two parts. One, it's a fixed rate of return that stays the same no matter what happens with the I bond. I'm guessing that's a small number. And number two, a variable rate, which is calculated twice a year, and it's based on the consumer price index. So that's going to vary up and down. I'm getting the impression that because inflation's been so high and because of a few other factors, this I bond rate is really high right now, so it's very appealing. If anything, I wish I would have jumped on this train last year too, because I could have had another $10,000 working for me getting this really good interest rate. But if you've got a Yotta account now, then you can sign up for this super easily. You saw me do it. It's going to be just as easy for you. I guess I have early access, so maybe it's not available to you yet, but keep an eye out because it may become available soon. And it's just amazing to me how easy 9.62% interest just became. Wow. If you don't yet have a Yotta account, I've got a link that you can sign up with in the description. And all that does is get me a few extra tickets like in the next drawing. I honestly don't care if you use my code or not. As long as you sign up with somebody's code, you'll get extra tickets to start off with too, so you probably will win a little bit more money, but it just makes sense to use somebody's code. Honestly, the value of that though is like $1 or $2 at the most probably, so I wouldn't worry about it. If you just want to download it and get started right now and don't worry about codes, go for it. Wow, I've just got to go back one more time and look at the beauty of these buckets. So core account, my crypto yield bucket still has 5 cents in it. My subscribe bucket is empty here. My like bucket is empty. My comment bucket is empty, but our luscious I bond bucket is full to the brim. It makes my heart warm. Hey, if you want to know more about Yotta in general, then click on this video because it's more of an overview of Yotta and how its service works and why it's interesting, how a prize link savings account works and all that jazz. Hey, and the secret comment for today is I, because we're talking about I bonds. See ya.